to the Experience Darden podcast. I'm your host, Brett Twitty, and you are listening to a new episode. On this episode of the podcast, I'm excited to share my recent conversation with Tomás Bicudo. Tomás is a first-year student in our full-time MBA class of 2027 and is also the incoming president of the Latin American Student Association here at the Darden School of Business. Tomás and I recently connected to talk more about his background, his decision to pursue an MBA, what led him to Darden, what he enjoyed about his first year, his plans for this summer, and so much more. I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation. And as always, if this conversation is helpful for you, please like this episode and subscribe to the Experience Darden podcast so you never miss an update. And remember, you can always check the episode description for links to Darden blogs, social channels, and more. Now, without further ado, here's my conversation with Tomás Bicudo. Tomás, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Brad. Really excited to be here. It's a great opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's great to chat with you. How's everything going?
It's pretty good. I can't complain. Just came back from Japan, 2 weeks over there with my wife. I would say rest, but I didn't have a lot of time to rest. Going to a lot of restaurants, getting to know Japan history. So it was really, really good.
Had you been to Japan before?
No, it was my first time. It was a great recommend. I don't know if you've ever been there.
No, I have not.
I would recommend definitely. I went to Tokyo, which is amazing. Kyoto, it's a smaller city, but still amazing. So very, very much recommend. I got local tips from Yuri. She's a classmate from mine. It's one of the perks of the MBA. You get to know people from all over the world. So she gave me very good tips, and we had a great time over there.
You mentioned you spent some time in restaurants. What's the best thing you ate while you were in Japan?
I want to say sushi. I miss it. I came from São Paulo originally, so we have everything over there. And since I got to travel I have been eating sushi very often, or as often I used to eat in São Paulo. So we went over there, and sushi was one of the best, definitely.
I have to believe it's better than most sushi out there.
Yeah,
all the way in Japan. Yeah, it makes sense. Well, thanks for your time, Tomás. So it's good to speak with you here. Tell us a little bit more about your background. We started to get a few details, but tell us about who you are and what you did before coming to Darden.
All right, sure. So as I mentioned, I'm married to Fernanda. We married last year, but we have been together for the past 10 years. I was raised by my father, my mother, and my older brother, who raised me as well. I worked for 10 years at Itaú, which is the largest bank in Latin America. I did what I call job rotation. I started investor relations, then I moved around the bank through credit, corporate, commercial, sale of derivatives, product management in the agribusiness sector. And for the past 2 years before coming to Darden, I was a project manager for the commercial bank. The bank was going through a renovation process and structure movements, and they needed someone that was cross departments. So I was the one connecting the different stakeholders. And outside the job, well, I love to travel. As I mentioned, Japan. I was just in Japan. I love traveling. I think Japan was my 15th country, so something like that. I love to read, and I love sports as well. I play soccer, but I love to run and swim.
Thank you. That's comprehensive. So many things to talk about. How did you get interested in pursuing an MBA?
So it's always started in 2023. My former boss, he decided as he was pursuing his MBA, I was like, okay, maybe that seems a nice trajectory going forward. I was in a good momentum at the bank, so I didn't want to leave, but I kept it in the back of my mind. So in 2024, I went to Egypt, and my plan was right after coming back, I was going to start studying for the GMAT, which is the first step for everyone that wants to get into the MBA. But unfortunately, when I got back to the bank, my other new boss, he said he was leaving. My coworker, he was going to his MBA. So I was by myself, taking care of everything. So I postponed from March to almost July, my start of my MBA journey. So I started studying for the GMAT in July, and thankfully I was able to apply in the first round. In October.
What got you interested in Darden specifically?
Yeah, so Darden was actually a recommendation from one of the advisors that was helping me to understand how I could position myself. And after a few conversations, he told me, hey, I think you should look up for Darden and understand. So What stood out to Darden, and I always like to, when I'm talking to prospective students, I divide that answer in three. It's not just that, but for me, those were the three major things. The first one is the case method. So I wanted something different. I wanted a full experience. And in Brazil, lecture style is the one that is most common in college and high schools. And I felt that this could be an amazing experience. Getting to know new industries, new companies, solving real world problems. Of course, you have the techno to help you, but the classroom is about the case. It's about the company solving that problem. So there isn't, I would say most of the times, there isn't a or wrong answer. We're discussing assumptions in class. So it's great to understand, to curate those assumptions and go into class and challenge other assumptions and people challenge your assumptions. So it's very different from a lecture style. So the case method, from learning new things and actually start talking about assumptions and not right or wrong answers, I think this prepare you going forward. Also, I'm not that person that loves attention. I'm not that person very comfortable speaking to a big audience, even though I made big presentations in the past. I wasn't a big fan. And coming here to Darden and have to speak in front of 70 people in a not my native language was definitely out of my comfort zone. So I felt, or I thought how much this would be beneficial for my long-term professional and personal growth. So definitely something that I was looking for. The second I would say is academic rigors. I wanted something that would make me study. I didn't want something like in college, I would just study one day before class and go to the exam. It's just like how you gamify things. And here in Darda, I actually did the opposite. I didn't study for the exams at all because I was so prepared from classes, from the discussions I had. So this was a very different aspect when I compare to college. And so here, Darden, you're expected to be in class, you're expected to be prepared, and you're expected to speak in class. So those three things make the environment of a classroom. When you see everyone that was well prepared with their ideas, with their assumptions that we mentioned before, you create a very good discussion. So it's something that I think is unique at Darden, and I value that a lot. When you look at the long term, the impact is a lot of work, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But it's definitely worth it when you see the impact in the long run, or even the short run. I see myself right now, and I feel I'm surprised on how much I grew this past year. And the third one is Charlottesville. Definitely, this place is unbelievable. When I was doing my research about one of the questions, one of the prompt during the application is Charlottesville, so that's when I knew about Charlottesville and I did my research on it. It's amazing, like the nature, the wineries, the peace. It's coming from São Paulo. It's definitely very very different from what I'm used to. So yeah, and the community, of course. I mean, I live at Ivy, which is 2 minutes from. I live in the last building of Ivy, which is 1 or 2 minutes walking to the classroom. So most of the people live nearby, and that help building community, which is something very important, especially when you're coming from a different country.
Had you spent much time in the United States before coming to business school?
Yeah, I lived in Arlington, Massachusetts when I was 15. I did 1 year of high school. I was very young. It was a very good experience as well.
So you come to business school, you're a brand new graduate business student at the Darden School. What was that adjustment like? I always think, coming to do business school, the case method in not your native language, that sounds like a lot to me.
It is. I would say the first adjustment was actually doing the hard work. Before coming here, I was leading 18 people. So I wasn't used to open a blank PowerPoint and start drafting a presentation or or do the Excel myself. So that was the first adjustment. I gotta say that. I did a lot of this when I was analyst, but I haven't done it in a while, to be honest. The second adjustment I would say is definitely the amount of work. You have the academic, of course, I mentioned it's a lot, but you have recruiting and you have social. Those are the three major pillars of the MBA, and it's difficult to balance the three of them and to support the three of them all the time. So it took me a while to understand that one of those three would fall at some point, and the wisest decision was to catch up as soon as I could. So whenever social or I had to, I couldn't spend much time with my wife at some point. The wisest thing to do was as soon as possible, uh, take her to have dinner with me or do something nice with her to keep the relationship. Or whenever I couldn't read a case for one classroom, make sure I was reading for the next one. I was prepared to speak and maintain my academic performance. So those, I would say, were the two major adjustments. Besides the one that we mentioned, speaking in front of 70 people, sometimes thinking on your feet. Of course, our well-known cold calls that happen in class. Sometimes professor cold call you. I mean, they cold call every class, but sometimes they cold call you. I was fortunate enough to not be cold called too many times because I raised my hand every class. So I was doing. I think this is one of the key aspects of the art. And if you raise your hand on the first few classes and you participate, you don't get cold call. But if you're not participating, professors want you to speak. They want to know what you think, so they will cold call you.
Yeah, cold call when you get called on, when you haven't volunteered to participate, that is part of the Darden experience. But to your point, you can perhaps take a little bit of control of that situation. You can raise your hand, you can volunteer, want to initiate the participation on your own. I think that's always a good way to go. I'm curious, Tomas, tell us a little bit more about your section. What section were you?
I was in section B.
Okay,
Yeah,
section B, the birds.
the birds. Yeah, exactly. It was an amazing experience. We get a very strong bond among us. Yeah, it's an interesting experience. Like you start on day one without knowing anyone. Maybe you know five of them because of Darden before Darden, or which is a program right before Darden. We can explore that a little bit. I did as well. Or the international students that came here early, and you create a relationship. But when you get to a section, you don't know most of the people. So it was very interesting to see how we came from not knowing each other to the best relationships we built throughout the year. And you go through a lot of stuff, not talking just about like projects within the class, but you create your own inside jokes. You have your own champagne bat. So it's really nice to see how we build that relationship. And of course, Darden Cup. If I'm not mistaken, we came in third on Darden Cup. Was really nice. We were in fourth, and we won the podium in the volleyball on the last day. So it was really nice.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, the Darden Cup, there's so many different events you can compete in. I think that's one of the things that's important to know. I think sometimes people hear it and they think, gosh, that must be all sports. But there's
No,
trivia,
no.
there's talent show, there's tons of things.
Yeah. I was part of the talent show. I was so we have a big bird that you can wear the costume. I was the big bird at the talent show. You have the trivia as well, which is not a sport. You go to a place and then you play trivia section against sections. Professors, faculty join the trivia night. Faculty can join as well, which is really nice to strengthen that relationship. It's one thing that surprised me here, Darden, how close you can be from faculty. You meet them. Um, I don't know if we didn't speak about that, but another thing that we have called cold call is our Thursday cold call, where we get together on Thursday night or Thursday afternoon at Darden, the vault of Darden or inside when it gets too cold, and we get together. We talk about the week. It's one of the social events at Darden, and faculty showed up. So you get a chance of getting to talk to faculty outside the class, and it's really interesting this relationship.
You mentioned a couple of pre-matriculation activities, International Students Orientation Program, or ISOP, as it's
Yeah.
called, as well as Darden Before Darden, sometimes referred to as DBD. How did these sessions help you adjust to school and kind of get ready and prepared for what was to come?
Yeah, those were really important, and I recommend to everyone that is coming, especially for international students, the DBD. So the ISOP is the first time you are in a classroom, back in the classroom after 10 years, and it's an opportunity to get to know your peers, your international peers. So of course, I knew some of them from the courtyard where we did a barbecue at first when we were here before ISOP. But it's the first time where you get into a classroom and you start learning about Charlottesville, learning about recruiting, learning about the classroom experience with these new classmates. So it was very important to settle and understand what's coming, and to create relationships. So ISOP is definitely very, very important. And then DBD, it's so ISOP. I think ISOP takes a week, if I'm not mistaken, was somewhere in the end of July, and then DBD starts right after. Is another opportunity for first international students get into a classroom, get an opportunity to get used to the case method. So you read a case, you actually having a classroom experience before classes start. So the stakes are low, but you still have cases to do. You must be prepared to class. Cold call exists in DVD. I thought I wouldn't see cold call in DVD, but I saw it. So it's really important, especially for international students, get used to the classroom, get used to speaking 70 in front of 70 people, but also for those people that didn't have a finance background. Fortunately, I had a finance background, so I used more to get prepared to speak in front of the people. But for those that didn't have this finance background, was very, very useful, and I heard very good feedbacks, because it gets you up to speed, especially using Excel or yeah, just finance background, and it helps in every discipline.
So, how did your career goals evolve over the course of your time in your first year? Sometimes people come in, they know exactly what they want to do. That's what they end up doing, and then other people that come in and within a couple months, they're thinking about something completely different. How about you?
So I came here not wanting consulting and investment banking. So I went, I chose I want to say the hard path, because it's definitely a little bit harder when you're not going to those two. So I wanted to come here and stay in a strategy position, either in the finance industry or tech industry. I didn't have a chance to um, um, have a lot of contact with the tech aspect when I was at detail. Even though I did a lot of I went to a lot of departments, I never had a chance to work at a tech department or nothing related to tech. So I came here either stay in the financial services but have the experience in the US, or trying to understand how the tech world um, behaves. And of course, there was something in my back of my mind that wanted to do a smaller company. Again, I worked in a very huge organization with a lot of process, a lot of bureaucracy. So I wanted to see the other side. How a fast-paced environment works? How do you thrive in that environment? So definitely, those were my main goals. Um, it didn't change much. It wasn't easy. I think it's never easy recruiting. You can ask anyone, and I think everyone will say, "Hey, I think no, don't ever go the way you wanted them to go." But everyone at the end get a job, and so it's not something that I would say changed much since I got here.
So, tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing this summer.
Okay, so I'm going to ClickHouse, which is a startup. They just raised their Series D, 400 million early this year. Basically, whenever you have data heavy company, they must have this data near real time, and they have sometimes problem with their product or their um, app journey or something. So they need to answer questions, and they need it fast. So ClickHouse offer solutions for this kind of company. Let's say Uber, they have I don't know how many million rides per minute. So if they have a problem with their app, if they have a problem or they want to find a pattern with their rides, ClickHouse can offer this database that answer questions in a very, very fast and more friendly way. Whenever you have this amount of data, you usually use AWS or Azure, which is not very friendly. So ClickHouse makes more friendly to answer those questions and find those patterns. I will be working as a strategic role, bringing all the background on um, processes, governance, and operational efficiency.
And you'd mentioned investment banking consulting, which obviously a lot of people coming to MBA programs are focused on, and those are such well-worn channels. And what we've been telling students as they've been talking with us about the job market is it's a job market where you want to have a few different plans, and you
Yeah,
want to pursue
definitely.
them. You want to pursue them with equal energy, right? So you may say, "I want to go do investment banking," but you probably won't have a plan B and a plan C. It's just very, very competitive right now, and you're right. Some of these other paths are perhaps not as well developed, or you may require a little bit more networking, or maybe a little bit more non-traditional. Although we have a lot of students at Darden go into general management, marketing, all these kinds of things. But it can be tough if you see everybody going in one direction to do something else. I think that's sometimes hard for students as well.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And to mention the point, yeah, consulting and investment banking are very early in the year, in the season. So you can do both, and you should do both. I saw a lot of people that didn't do it, the parallel path, as we call the general management. For some people, they are not parallel, they are the main path. But it's still, if you're doing consulting, if you're doing investment banking, you should definitely think about and work on your parallel path throughout the whole recruiting season. Don't just start working on that when, unfortunately, you got bad news from consulting or investment banking. And yeah, so I would say it's very, very important.
Where will you be based this summer?
It's a remote job, so I'll be here in Charlottesville. Enjoy the even more peaceful environment here in Charlottesville. My wife gave one idea of going to New York for a few days at some point. Might drive over there. One of the benefits of Charlottesville is that you can go to Florida, you can go to New York, DC. I can move around throughout the summer. So maybe at some point in June, July, the World Cup will be happening here. I love soccer. So maybe I would try to go to any Brazilian game or any soccer game. I would love to watch any soccer game. I didn't plan because I didn't know until a few weeks ago where I was going to be based this summer, but it's definitely one of the options.
Yeah, great to be in Charlottesville in the summer. It's nice. It's a little bit less crowded. You have a little bit more of the city to yourself.
Yes.
And that has its benefits and perks. There's a lot of summer programming that also happens and events. It's nice to go out to some of these places where people enjoy hanging out, wineries and doing hikes and stuff. But you're right. You could take the train to New York. Have you considered that right there from downtown Charlottesville to
Yeah.
New York's Penn Station?
Yeah, definitely. I have a car here, so I would drive. It's not a fun drive. I mean, it's 7 hours if you go straight, but it's possible in the train. I know a lot of people that took the train to New York or to DC. It works well, so it's a nice. But I wouldn't mind going to the beach, especially during the summer, going down to Florida and spend some time. We went in the spring break. We went to Gulf Shores, Alabama. Never been to. It was my first time over there. It was great. It was a great place. People were very welcome. So maybe go back there for a while.
So I'm curious, we come back second year, a lot going on always for second year students at Darden. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to?
Okay, so I got a lot on my plate for the second year. It will be very, very interesting. And so first of all, I'm the president of the Latin American Student Association, LASA, which is affinity club for the Latinos. We are not just for Latinos. Two-thirds of our members are non-Latinos. Because of our hospitality and energy, we have our famous barbecue that happens in the fall, right when the weather becomes better. We have a big barbecue here at the Ivy Courtyard. This year we had around 90 people showing up. It was a huge event. We had 90 pounds of beef, 20 pounds of chicken, and 10 pounds sorry, 70 pounds of beef, 20 pounds of chicken, and 10 pounds of fish. So we had 100 pounds of food for people who showed up. It was a great experience. And of course, our carnival that we have is another big party. Um, I'll be serving as the portfolio manager for the Rotunda Fund at the Darden Capital Management is an opportunity to. So I've been investing, building my own portfolio for the past 10 years. And for the last year, I have been only cashing out my money to pay my cost of living. So this will be a good chance to go back and investing and learning more about the U.S. market, and also learn from my peers, their perspective on investing, how they think, how they not think. I pitched a company a few weeks ago. We ended up buying, but it wasn't an easy pitch. I thought it was going to be easy, but they challenge hard a lot my assumptions, which is great. It's just like another type of experience at Darden. People won't challenge if you're right or wrong on buying. They challenge your assumptions on how you get and how you got there. I'm the VP of Communications and Marketing for the School of Brew. We're having our 10th year anniversary this year, so we'll be I'm very excited about it. I'm part of the Gen and I Student Advisory Board. Gen and I is definitely one of the main topics right now everywhere, and you got to balance on how much you implement Gen and I, but at the same time guarantee that our students still have the foundation throughout the first year, and guarantee that they leave Darden with the knowledge they expected, and they expected when they came here, and they are expected from their future employers. I will be tutoring for Gem 1 and Gem 2, which were my favorite classes here at Darden. I love all of them, but Gem 1 and Gem 2 were my favorite, definitely. And I am part of the interview elective. I will be interviewing incoming student for the next year. And of course, I got classes, which will be great. I think classes, second year electives will come tomorrow, the results. So I don't know yet which classes I took, but definitely looking forward to the classes that I bet.
All right, let's decipher a little bit of what you shared. So, Gym 1 and Gym 2, Global Economies and Markets, Part 1 and Part 2 of the macroeconomics course
Yeah,
here at the Darden School of Business. Microeconomics is kind of woven into the other classes. That's the way it's been explained to me by a member of the econ
perfect.
faculty at Darden. You mentioned the School of Brew. What is the
Yes.
School of Brew for folks who are less familiar with Darden's 50-plus student organization?
All right, perfect. So this is, I don't want to call it, but it's our beer club. But of course, so basically what we do is we go to breweries outside town. We go on buses to get to know. But the main event is we brew with Three Notch. We go there and we brew with them, which is great. So I brew once with my uncle, which was one of my favorite memories of my life, and it's an amazing experience. So I encourage everyone that can be part of Scroll Brew, or can brew at some point in their lives, to do it. It's an amazing experience. And I'm sorry for the acronyms. I'm just so used to, and my wife complains all the time. She's like, "What is FMP? What?" It's just how we learn how to our mind works. But yeah, you're right on explaining that.
Yeah, in case people are wondering, FNP is the finance course. So there's a part
Yeah,
one and a part
definitely.
two to that in the
Yeah.
core curriculum.
Yeah.
And that's very cool that y'all get to go Three Notched, which is a local brewery in town,
Yeah.
to brew. That I did not know that detail.
Yeah, it's really. I didn't go last year. I had another commitment at the same time, but it's definitely one of the events I'm looking for the second year. And I mentioned sorry, Global Markets, and as my favorite, but I didn't explain that much. I think everything on those two classes are amazing, from the cases, and I love history, I love geography, and so you learn a lot on those cases besides economy. Of course, you learn how the economy works on those countries, but you learn about history, about countries, about geography, and about strategy when you read a case about Japan, about Argentina, about Brazil, about UK. So I think, and shout out to Kinda, which is was my professor. She works for the Fed. So having a professor that works for the Fed teaching you something, it's amazing. So
Yeah,
definitely.
that's Kenda Hatcham.
Yeah, yeah.
She was one of our early guests on our Faculty Spotlight series we call Office Hours. So if folks are curious about her and want to hear a little bit more from her, she was one of the first people who came on. We had 30 plus faculty conversations at this point, but Kenda joined, and it was very cool talking with her about her work.
That's
Um,
awesome. I'm gonna
and it
hear that
feels
one.
Feels like macroeconomics, monetary policy has been in the news a lot lately as people seem to talk about interest rates every day.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We had one case, I think it was global markets too, where we had to talk about actual movements in the US. So it was amazing because you get the real-time information, and as you were the Fed, how would you behave right now based on the numbers that you got from the economy? So it was very interesting.
well, Tomas, we've been asking recent guests on the podcast a question, and that's if someone comes to Charlottesville, first time visitor, never been, prospective student, checking things out, what are three things that you would recommend that they do while they're in town?
Three things. All right. Uh, the first one, of course, it's a UVA tour. Go to the rotunda, see what's out there. The architecture is amazing. My wife is an architect. She goes crazy when we go there. And I learn a lot from it because of her. So reading about the history about UVA, the rotunda is an amazing thing. Go there, see the lawn, how it goes down. It's an amazing experience. The second, I will go to a winery, definitely. I can recommend a few, but I don't know how many wineries do we have here in Charlottesville. Maybe 60, I want to say, maybe more. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You can hit like 2 or 3 in 1 hour. So it's definitely an amazing. Choose one that is on the top of the mountain. You won't regret the view. Um, Third one. Oh God. I want to talk about food. Maybe go to my favorite restaurant right now is Black Cow. It's an amazing. Uh, they have amazing beef over there. It's really good. Uh, if we are doing a barbecue at the Ivy Courtyard, I would say that's better. You should join, but we don't have that every day. Black Cow is open every day, so we'll go there.
I appreciate that. I was doing the math on the amount of the pounds of meat relative to the total number of attendees. It was over a pound per person
Yeah.
for that party you had. Amazing.
But some of those were New York strips, so you have the fat and stuff, and that math has the food that is like in natura, like it's not cooked. So, but yeah, it was. We had 2 trays of New York strip leftovers and one salmon. That's it. People ate
Wow.
it.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
and it's a 4-hour event, so.
Okay. Well, something to look forward. I know that's always a big event on the Darden schedule.
It is. It
Something
is.
people look forward to. There are a few of these, like the Global Food Festival is another
Ooh,
one. All the
yeah.
Darden Cup
Oh,
stuff for
that
sure.
I wanna touch point on that. The Global Food Festival was one of my favorite events. Reed one is doing this year. I'm sure it will be even better. So basically, people going there and different countries cooking their food. We did a Brazilian dish, but I was right next to the Peruvian one, and Peruvian food, it's amazing. So it's definitely one of my favorite events here, Darden. You get to taste different flavors from all over the world. So it's and the day the weather was amazing as well. So it was a nice day.
Well, Tomas, one more question for you. What's a piece of advice you would share with our listeners who are thinking about their own MBA journeys?
Uh, my first advice would understand what you want from the MBA. What you want 2 years ahead. If you just want a job, I don't think this is the right decision. If you want the experience, if you want to be a different and a better person, a professional going forward, then the MBA is definitely worth it. After you set the priorities, then you should definitely talk to current students and alumni. I think both, each of them have different perspectives on on the school. And finally, after you got all the information you needed from, and you don't need to talk to 10 alumni, 10, talk to 2 current students, 2 alumni. That should be enough to get the sense of who study there and what they think is worth it. Here at Darden, for example. And then you make a match. For me, as I mentioned, I had a match because I had one goal in 2 years which was become a better person, a better professional. And throughout the conversations I had, I found Darden was the place. Don't care, and Darden is well ranked, so I can say that. Don't be only looking at rankings and be like, oh, I must go here because of the ranking. Be Sometimes ranking are made on things that might not match your priorities. So be thoughtful on that. So those are and start early. I started late on the game, and I thought I had to apply for round one because, well, I don't know. I thought it was going to be different. No, just start early and be ready for application.
Yeah, full-time MBA, we see people apply early action, round 1, round 2, and
Y-
even in some years, round 3. We have multiple
Yeah,
deadlines, for a reason, but certainly the general advice is to apply as early as you feel like you can put together a strong
yeah.
application.
And I didn't mean to put like, oh, round one is better than round two. No, no. It's just that, well, if you plan to apply in round one, start early. If you plan to apply in round two, start early. That was my point. There is, I mean, there shouldn't be a difference between round one and round two, but of course we have um if you start early so you can pace yourself and not suffer a lot.
Well, Tomás, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with your internship this summer. It's great
Thank
chatting
you
with
very
you.
much. It was an honor being part of this. Thank you very much.
And that was my conversation with Tomás Bicudo, a first-year student in our full-time MBA class of 2027. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, requests, anything like us to cover here on the podcast, we're all ears. We can be reached at Darden, that's DARDEN, @virginia.edu. Till next time, stay safe, be well, and thanks for listening.